how on earth did they get the pyramids built, and how on earth did the logistics work when it comes to the pyramids? This has been a question that has fascinated me from the beginning of my existence back in 1989, and I'm wondering if you guys feel the same way. Now, I do want to ask the question up front. What do you guys think is the real way they actually moved these massive tonnage blocks from hundreds of miles or kilometers, however you want to look at it, away to sites of construction? There is no way someone can just tell me, yep, it was a bunch of people, thousands of people that just used ropes and moved stuff around. They had to have some complex logistics involved to get freight from point A to point B. This is a perfect Friday night topic, and I hope you can stay along in this video to kind of explore some hypotheses and some theoretical things that scientists have talked about since the beginning of time, kind of. When it comes to building buildings, humanity's view is clearly that bigger is always better. Sometimes it's about how you use it as well. So, construction, such as on an 828 meter Burj Khalifa in Dubai, which is completed in 2010, and the Great Pyramid of Giza, which was completed in 2570 BC, provides some definite evidence of this bigger is always better trend. Moreover, on this, the super projects bring with them enormous logistical challenges. I want to explore some theories on the logistics behind the largest pyramid ever constructed, and this was the Great Pyramid of Khufu, better known as the Pyramid of Giza. Now, we can sit here and argue, for example, I'm from Bosnia, and in Bosnia we do have some structural related pyramidal structures in Visoko, Bosnia. They're spread all over the place, by the way, not just in Visoko or not just in Bosnia. There's pyramids in every continent that you can think of. In addition to this, of course, I do truly believe there is some stuff down in Antarctica as well that's going on. But hey, we don't have definitive answers, so we can only speculate. But when it comes to the Giza pyramid is a tomb of the 4th dynasty pharaoh Khufu. And taking an estimated, what scientists say is 27 years to build it, it was the tallest man-made structure in the world for 3,800 years. Until, of course, the construction of the Lincoln Cathedral, which was completed in 1311. The dimensions of the pyramid are crazy. So it is 146.7 meters high. Try to run that and let me know how long it takes you to run on a flat surface. And it actually has a base of 230.6 meters. While it is constructed from an estimated 2.3 million large blocks, weighing a total of 6 million, that's 6 million tons, materials included some 5.5 million tons of primarily limestone from the Giza Plateau, as well as an estimated 8,000 ton of granite blocks from Aswan. And Aswan's like 900 kilometers away. So how in the world did this get from Aswan to Giza? The largest of these blocks each weighed between 25 and 80 tons. And they were transported to the construction site where they were to be built and constructed, and they were actually transported, according to scientists, by boat down the Nile River. And a study that was conducted in 1999 estimated that the total project required an average workforce of 13,000 people, and with a maximum peak workforce of 40,000 people to get it done. And to kind of comprehend this, it's a little bit hard to do, to say the least. It's ambitious, it's ingenious, it's impressive. The construction project itself, enormous. But it does help to consider that the modern day technology required to move an 80-ton piece of equipment some 900 kilometers from origin to destination to kind of understand and take grasp of how big of a job this is. Back in 2014, there was a natural gas-fired power station that was constructed on the border of Mozambique and South Africa. And this was done over a 2-year period. At the heart of the power station were 13 Rolls-Royce generation units, and each of them weighed 100 tons. And it took a 500-ton mobile crane to lift each of these units from the vessel and place them on a specialized trailer for a 669-kilometer overland transport from South Africa port of Richards Bay over to Ressano Garcia in Mozambique. When the generation units arrived at the construction site, they were offloaded using a specialized hydraulic lifting platform before being maneuvered into a position onto their foundations within the housing structure. Now, the ancient Egyptians constructed the Giza pyramid by placing 2.3 million blocks without the assistance of pulleys, wheels, or iron tools. The logistics necessary to achieve this feat was nothing less than just mind-blowing, just amazing. Summers Clark and Reginald Engelbach, authors of Ancient Egyptian Construction and Architecture, they do tell or assert or confide in the theory that a device known as a cradle or a rocker in ancient Egyptian masonry was used to move the blocks about, to move them from point A to point B, move them around. But they do note that the most popular theory for how the stone blocks were moved up the pyramid is that of a ramp system, possibly complemented by some kind of lever, however you say that word, system. Exactly how the ramp system worked, I mean, it's anybody's guess. However, it has never really been explained in any scientific way that it would make sense for anyone. There's, for example, Breer and Hobbs back in 2013. Scientists, the significant problems with the physics involved in this, they kind of go through talking. If you want to read that article, Breer and Hobbs, 2013, they talk about the physics involved in getting this done. And also, Robert Carson, an engineer, believes that the ancient Egyptians used their knowledge of pumps to control water levels inside the pyramid to move blocks upwards. I mean, so many theories to try to work through. Whatever the truth of the matter, it would seem that the ancient Egyptians possessed vast, interesting skills, very intelligent coordinations of manual labor. Another mystery on this is how can an 80-ton granite block be loaded onto a ship and then unloaded? That's, again, of course, there's many theories about this on how Egyptians achieved this. There was an obelisk of Pharaoh Hatshepsut that was built in 1457 BC during the 18th dynasty, and it was made of a single piece of pink granite that was weighing 343 tons. The method of loading the obelisk onto a specialized barge is crazy, like mind-blasting, mind-blowing. Considering the fact that the first recorded cranes were used by the Greeks in 500 BC, and the first stationary harbor cranes were recorded in like 1244, that was used to lift wine barrels. Wine barrels, if you want to say it correctly. It would really seem that the Egyptians did have some kind of knowledge in terms of logistical practices that we can't really comprehend, that we don't use in modern society. The great monuments and temples of ancient Egypt do captivate my mind. It blows my mind into a billion pieces trying to understand how they could potentially do this. I've heard of using sand, water, and a scale model of an ancient Egyptian transport sled that was done by some scientists, and they tried to explain how this could potentially work. Now, the ancient Egyptians didn't utilize wheels or animals for majority of the pyramid um, building in terms of the eras when they were built. So the giant blocks that weighed 2.5 tons, kind of on average, had to be moved through some kind of human muscle power alone. But really, until recently, nobody really knew how this could potentially work, and it seems that it's really water. That seems to be kind of the overall consensus of how this stuff kind of goes about. The evidence that they do have suggests that the blocks were first levered onto potentially wooden sleds and then hauled up ramps made of sand. But if you take dry sand piles up in front of a moving sled when this happens, and this increases friction until the sled is not really possible to move. So, or pull, really near impossible to pull. So wet sand reduces friction dramatically beneath the sled runners, and this eliminating the sand piles and making it possible for a team of people to move the massive objects um, is kind of the way to go, right? So wet sand would reduce that friction. So water would need to be used. So this was something that was a theory thrown around as to the most likely understanding of how this all came to be. The key, though, in the scale model experiment that scientists did is getting the water to sand ratio exactly perfect, exactly right. So too much water and the sled bogs down. And despite the seemingly, obvious answer, tomb art discovered in the 19th century does depict laborers pouring liquid in front of a block hauling a group of people. So the debate over how the pyramids were built is almost as ancient as the pyramids themselves. Now, there was an article in 1956 in the Journal of Archaeology that describes how the speculation about the construction methods dates back to ancient Greece and continues unabated, really. A quick search of the JSTOR archives does reveal thousands of articles on this particular topic if you guys are interested, with many focused on the use of rollers or ancient cranes to haul the blocks. But there seems to be a lot of focus on water. Now, in 2003, there was an article in the Journal of Technology and Culture that kind of looks at water as a lubricant, using that as a hypothesis. And this is providing some theoretical physical calculations, but without providing supporting evidence beyond the tomb art. That's kind of a long shot, right? So the 2003 article never really did get too much attention and was kind of lost in the midst of a lot of different competing theories when it comes to this stuff. Now, the scale model research that was done has definitely gotten a lot of notice from people because it has gone the furthest in terms of trying to prove the hypothesis or its hypothesis. Moving, of course, a replica sled that they did with wet sand and describing exactly how much water would be needed in this ratio. In addition to this, the work does also prove that the required amount of water was relatively small and could feasibly be transported with blocks. Now, they sometimes do say that the most simplest answer, the most simplest explanation is the correct answer. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an archaeologist, but it blows my mind to think of this kind of stuff. Now, we can incorporate into this as well, talk about, aliens and interstellar communication with other beings. But I've traveled, for example, so I have not been to Egypt, but I have been in Bosnia inside of these pyramidal structures I mean, they're pyramids. If I can comprehend or understand what a pyramid is, these things are pyramids. I mean, if you can ever go to Bosnia and check this stuff out and look at these pyramids, see what's going on and how they're constructed, and walk inside. There's tunnels that take you all labyrinths that take you uh, inside, then down, then right, then left, then up, then again down, and you go into these areas of ancient water or ancient lakes inside of the pyramid. And when you sit around these pieces of water and sit around the rocks that were somehow used as some kind of healing or energy field, I'm not sure how it exactly works, but there was a group of us from all over the world. I mean, Czech Republic, or Czechia, excuse me, now that it's called, Canada, Japan, Russia, Serbia, you name it. People go to that pyramid, and when I was there, we would be sitting around this, of course, human constructed wood to help with meditation, but there was a rock that was very heavy. I'm not sure exactly how many tons, but very heavy. In the middle of where they put these, where they constructed this wood, so for all of us to sit around this rock. And when you put your hands above this rock, it just looks like a rock that's split into two pieces. When you put your hands above like this, the rock, you feel the energy. You feel your body vibrating. So there has to be more to this in terms of the purpose of these pyramids all over the world. But it's mind-blowing to think of how this stuff was constructed. Now, I'm sure the climates were different and geography may have been changed in a lot of these different places. For example, in Chichen Itza, I can't even say it, in Mexico, Chichen Itza, Mexico. When you look at that, I mean, how was that in that dense area created and constructed, right? So these theories for any Chinese pyramids, like you name it, wherever you go, I don't know. I mean, I don't exactly know how, but it's fascinating to think about this stuff. It's a great Friday night topic. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you do have a theory that's outside of regular general consensus of what scientists are talking about, and you feel like you'd like to share with the rest of the world in terms of how it exactly, the logistics of it all worked. How did they get these blocks from hundreds of kilometers away to where they needed to be for construction? You know, maybe they had some Freightliners do it, you know what I'm saying? Some old school step deck trailers and flatbed trailers. Not likely, but again, hey, we don't know. I mean, we weren't there to see it all kind of, you know, transform into what it is today. So if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a share, give it a like, give it a comment. Let's get this thing pumping. Respect. Peace. Oh, subscribe to the channel too. That apparently helps us out to keep us motivated, to keep us going on the world of YouTube. So thank you very much. God bless, and hope you guys enjoy this video. Cheers.